sweetie. Yeah, we get the vibing, don't we? We got some topics to discuss. We get it poppin', homie. Just elected like the new mayor, putting on the classic like he Ric Flair. This is Josh Martinez and Z100, home of your favorite music where the beats are bumping. Pick your favorite company, the wait is over. It's a superstar crossover. If I can sip out.
Hey, yo, what up? I'm Josh Martinez of Z100 and iHeartRadio's Superstar Crossover with my guest, Drew McINTYRE. What's going on, man?
What's happening, brother? How you doing?
Chilling, just continuously growing out the beard. This Friday night, SmackDown at Nassau Coliseum. You will be there. Roman Reigns will be there. Are we expected to see some fun things happen Friday night?
Well, considering the past, couple of weeks of SmackDown and Raw this past Monday, I'd imagine something's about to go down with the Bloodline and RK Bro and Drew McINTYRE. I think if you saw last Friday's SmackDown, I was throwing Roman Reigns across the ring from one side to the other. And then this past Monday, RK Bro caught the Usos by surprise with a couple of RKOs. Myself and Roman had a moment where I was all over him. And, the Usos got in there. Myself and RK Bro and Bloodline were brawling. What you didn't see on the air was we got the best of them. They ran away with their tails between their legs. I'm sure they're coming up with a plan for Friday for one last attack on us before WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday, where myself and RK Bro take down the Bloodline.
So this isn't the first time you and Roman Reigns have battled in the ring. WrestleMania 35, which, by the way, total side note, that's the protein cup I'm using today. You guys fought under different circumstances. And then Survivor Series 2020, arguably one of the best matches of the year. What would you say is the biggest difference between WrestleMania 35, Survivor Series 2020, and then what we're going to see at WrestleMania Backlash?
Between WrestleMania 35 and Survivor Series is night and day for both of us, I would say. Mm-hmm. Even though Roman was technically, on top of the industry, multiple-time world champion, he still hadn't quite put those final pieces together, which is crazy considering the level he was at during that time. The fans hadn't quite accepted him, in that top position yet. As hard as he was working, as good a job as he was doing, there was something just not quite there. And if you look, the time he spent away and returned as a tribal chief, and those final pieces went together, he's just shot to that next level. And he says it himself. The numbers say it all. He's really on top of the world right now. For Drew McINTYRE, in WrestleMania 35, I was just big, angry guy number one to insert in there with Roman Reigns, top good guy to fight him. I really didn't have much character development at the time. I'd been around for a long time and I had a lot, to give as far as I was concerned, but hadn't had the opportunity to express it quite yet. So I was talking about eating carcasses. I was talking about eviscerating the competition. I was hairy, Scottish and large, which no one could relate to except the one big hairy Scottish guy who's angry in Scotland going, I get this guy. And no one else could quite click with him except, that's that big nasty man that's trying to take out our guy Roman Reigns. But now, time's passed. I've started putting together those final jigsaw pieces. I'm now myself. I found myself not just in the ring on the microphone as a character, very relaxed now, much like Roman. We've kind of reached our not full evolution because you're always evolving, but an entirely new evolution for both of us. And Survivor Series was an example of that, where we're really able to show what we're about these days. But we didn't have a crowd there. So as much as the chemistry was there, as much as the match, was ravely reviewed, even though in the end, he had the Usos involved, low blowed me and had to choke me out. We didn't have that adrenaline rush of the live fans being in attendance. And that's the big difference you'll see this Sunday, as you've got the Bloodline and Roman, who have got 2 more years of equity since that match on top of the world. And you've got RK Bro with Randy Orton, who with myself were trying to take each other out a couple of years ago, is now having the time of his life. He's having so much fun. Riddle's phenomenal in the ring. He's a bit of a joker, but he's a former UFC fighter. He can very much handle himself. And those two together are money. And with Drew McINTYRE now, with 2 years of experience since the last time Roman and I tangled, he's got to experience it the past couple of weeks. This is a match I think people are going to be talking about for a long time.
Now, you mentioned the character development of yourself. Do you find yourself better, in just your opinion, as a babyface or a heel?
As a babyface right now, I'd say. And I think sometimes it's a fine line because, I am the guy who headbutts people and swings swords at people's heads. Like, and I get cheered for it. It's not exactly the most babyface of moves. Just chase people around with a giant sword, trying to slice them to pieces. But I enjoy what I'm doing right now. Like the real Drew is very much what you see on screen, very passionate about everything in life, especially this industry, and generally doing the right thing. But at the same time, the more I get to be myself, the more you see, the real Drew on TV, the more fun it's going to be when I turn. Because instead of just big, angry Drew who had no real character talking about eating carcasses or whatever before, everybody knows who I am. They know what I'm about. And when I turn, there would be a reason I would have to turn to the dark side. And it would be, something people could emotionally invest in because they would get who I truly am, rather than just generic big guy number one, big bad guy number one.
If you had a chance to have a manager, anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh. You say anybody, right away, Bobby Heenan is someone that comes to mind. But at the same time, I've been around Paul Heyman when he's been managing some of my opponents, like a Brock Lesnar and a Roman Reigns, and I saw what he's been able to do for them. He has someone that has advised me throughout the years, especially when I was younger. And he's a very, very smart individual. There's a reason he's been around for so long, even though he's been able to cause a bit of heat throughout his career. He's not shy to speak his mind, and most of the time it's because he's right. And some people don't like that. And he's kept himself within the industry because he is that good. So I might have to go with Paul Heyman. That might be something interesting down the line. You're talking about a bad Drew McINTYRE with a Paul Heyman. Again, we're just playing fantasy booker here. That could be interesting.
Now, you did mention that you were different than you were 2 years ago. Who has been the most helpful to your character development over the last 2 years specifically?
Oh, a number of people. Like we've got obviously our creative team and the boss himself who makes the decisions. But the couple of the programs I've been in, really helped out. I think like obviously number one to me is a Randy Orton story. When I was champion, I had the opportunity to step up and try and keep up with Randy on the microphone and in the ring, and also I was able to tell some personal stories during that time. When I was younger and things not working out for me, and even though I didn't always make the best decision, I was kind of just squashed down, and it was kind of on me a lot of the time. But at the same time, the parallel with Randy, where he made even worse decisions and yet was still given everything and all the tools to succeed and protected so much, was an interesting period of, he was the real chosen one, even though I was called the chosen one, and I had to get crushed down, then fired, and then really find myself and earn it all myself instead of being given it all, and kind of developing that character. And it's not character, it's real life. I've been able to tell that real life story throughout that story with Randy and show the resilience of Drew McINTYRE, the heart that I'll never give up no matter what comes my way. It was really an important part of showing the world what Drew McINTYRE was about. And there's been like numerous stories since then. The stuff with Sheamus was cool because it was all based in reality. I really enjoyed that stuff, and the chemistry was there. And even to this day, there's a lot of promos and moments where I'll try and just work in the real Drew and just keep the things evolving. You can't stay the same forever. And I'm running about with a sword these days. I mentioned already. It's like, I don't know if you consider that character development, but it is a fun part of the package, and it does allow me to talk about my mother, who the sword's named after, my late mother, who is very important to me. And again, part of like who I am, part of my career, part of the reason that I am the guy who never gives up, because she was somebody, who never gave up. She was afflicted with, rare disorder when she was younger, told she would never have kids, had me and my brother through her life, always said, oh, someone's got it worse. Even when she got cancer, inevitably after dealing with everything she's dealt with in her life, she always had a positive attitude, always said, someone's got it worse. Just got to stay positive and push ahead. And, it's cool that I've got the sword, and the fact that it's named after her. It's pretty cool now. So yeah, we're always evolving. That's what we do in WWE.
You talk about staying positive, and I like to bring up mental health, because for every highs, there's a low, right? Is there something that you do to kind of bring you even keel and back down to an even platform, if you will?
Come home, speak to the missus. Like she's again for the real Drew. The reason I am the man I am today, and able to separate my obsession with wrestling with reality in real life. You know, it's what I've always wanted to do, is be part of WWE. I've always wanted to be a wrestler since I was 5 years old, obsessively driven. But at the same time, as much as you love something, it's not healthy to think about it 24/7, 365. And I did that for years, and it was not having a positive result. And she was able to somehow allow me to take my attention off it for a minute, allow things to digest. And if you're able to distract yourself from the thing you're totally obsessed with, take a little break, let things digest. It gives you so much more perspective, a lot more ideas. And yeah, she's the one that's able to take my mind off things, and my two cats.
I have one cat. Her name is Miss Elizabeth. I hate her.
Oh, don't say that. Don't
no,
say that.
you don't
Especially with a name like
understand.
Miss Elizabeth.
Well, here was the deal. My fiance wanted a cat. I didn't. So we got a cat. And I said, I'll get a cat, but I got to name her Miss Elizabeth. See, you and I obsessed with wrestling. Now, you mentioned being obsessed with wrestling. Now, this is called the Superstar Crossover. My last guess was AEW superstar Powerhouse Hobbs. And his question for you.
Probably hit him with a general question. What inspired you to get into this business?
Ooh, it's pretty cool. It came from him. You know, he's doing a great job right now, and it's amazing what he's done with his physique. What inspired me to get into wrestling? I wish I had a more exciting answer than I just knew when I saw it. It was like love at first sight, and I was 6 years old when I saw it. I talk about it in my book. I know we've talked about this in the past. The Chosen Destiny, available everywhere. But my dad tells this story all the time. So that's why I'm able to recite it, you know, word for word, because he's always told this story. I wrote it in my book, that when I saw wrestling at my older cousin's house, my brother and I watched him behind the sofa like it was forbidden, captivated by the characters on the screen, the larger than life superstars. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I held my family meeting, and my mom, my dad, my brother all together, and told them I'm going to be a wrestler one day. And my mom and dad went, okay, son, that's cool. Because every kid's, like I've said this so many times in interviews, but it's true. Like kids say the darndest things, like I'm going to be an astronaut, I'm going to be a wrestler, I'm going to play football professionally, I'm going to ride a Tyrannosaurus Rex professionally. And inevitably, it's either not possible or you grow out of it. But I never deviated from the plan. I knew what it was I was going to do. And by the time I was 14, 15, tried to convince my mom to let me go to wrestling school, 12 hours from where we live, 24-hour round trip. I was also telling her, you know, this is like I'm 9 years behind right now. Like I've been wanting this for years. I got to get started right now before it's too late. And I was like 15 at that point, convinced I was already, you know, starting too late at 15 years old. This was it. Like, there was nothing else as far as I was concerned.
Now we have a couple more minutes left, but I would like you to ask a question to our next guest.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Do you remember your best bit of advice?
So freaking many. Be nice to everybody on the way up, because it's the same people on the way back down. There's always a good one that stuck with me. And one that I say all the time, because the journey that I've been on throughout my life, is be accountable to one person and one person only, and that's the person in the mirror. Don't worry so much about what other people think about you. Certainly not on the stupid freaking internet.
Don't worry about people on Twitter. All right,
no,
you're good.
No.
All right.
Don't define yourself by likes. That's just madness. And I know it's not easy in the world we live in, but you'll drive yourself crazy. Just listen to that person in the mirror and you're good.
In 30 seconds or less, Clash at the Castle. Talk about it. Tell me about it. How you feeling, bro?
Fired up. I mean, I'm looking like this right now because I just came back from the UK and a pretty extensive miniature tour. I flew over to Cardiff on the first day. I had 12 hours of media talking about how we did it. The show I've been talking about for years, the show I've wanted, the show the UK have deserved for 30 years, the first significant stadium show in 30 years since SummerSlam 92 is happening. Pre-sale, pre-registration tickets broke all WWE records. Thank God, because I was waiting for something to go wrong and not to go well, and everyone to point at the scapegoat. This guy has been talking about it and go, you were wrong. It was a terrible idea. It was a terrible idea. You said this was going to be big, but we smashed all records in the pre-registration. I know it's going to sell out. I know it's going to be huge. The roof is very close to the no grass in the arena, where our ring will be. AT&T Stadium had a great roof. It was high, but it was still loud as hell. This roof was so much lower. You get 75,000 UK fans in that building. It is going to break some kind of sound barrier. Picture ECW One Night Stand. That was only 2,000 people. Amplify that by about 100. It's going to be so freaking noisy. It's going to be awesome.
A lot of us are looking forward to that event just for the fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are looking forward to this SmackDown Friday night, Nassau Coliseum. Tickets on sale. All the info, WWE.com on the events page. Drew McINTYRE, one more time. Thank you for joining us, bro.
Thank you as always, brother. I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon, but everybody enjoy SmackDown on Friday. If you're in the local area, you'll also have Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes in a non-televised match. So you've got all the top SmackDown superstars. You get Drew McINTYRE smashing Roman Reigns' teeth down his throat, and you can have yourself a heck of a night.